Accounting for FSD revenue is a little tricky. Yeah, there's some moving pieces in there that are kind of hard to account for. How much do you count up front? How much is deferred? How long does it take? And is there a hidden trick behind the curtain? Yes, there is, and I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. Okay, so I'm just getting into this. This is kind of fun. As you'll recall, over the years, Tesla has not been able to account for all the money. They hold it. They can't recognize the full amount of the money that you pay to purchase FSD until FSD is delivered. Now, this is not a bad idea when you're just a year or two away, or 3 or 5 or forever. It's becoming a problem, isn't it? So what do? Well, you count what's done. It's a third done. It's 35, 40, 50. How far done is it? When we reach feature complete, they'll account it all, but feature complete, it should be able to drive you all the time, everywhere. So we can't count all of it. And if it never comes, will there be a lawsuit? Will there be a class action suit? Will it cost $1 kajillion? Maybe. But there are some ways around this, and Tesla has found them. They're right under our nose. They have been this whole time. So we covered the bit by bit part. Let's talk about subscriptions. If you subscribe to FSD, you know you're not getting a complete product because you know it's not coming this month. If you subscribe, that revenue is counted that month. It's counted in full. And that makes sense because you didn't pay for a finished product. You paid for the beta, or in this case, supervised. You paid for a partial thing. We can count all that revenue because all that revenue is real. Cool. But something happened. They changed the verbiage. Well, let's see what it is. Let's go take a look. This is, perhaps you might recognize, Tesla's website. Let's look at vehicles. Let's just pick Model Y. It's the best seller. Here it is. Beautiful, right? Order now. And let's see what it says. Let's see. Should we opt for FSD? Your full self-driving supervised. That's what you're buying. Your car will be able to drive itself almost anywhere with minimal driver intervention. This is a product they can count. If you purchase a car today and you purchase FSD, that $8,000 goes all of it, every last penny, to the bottom line, because you're not buying a future product. Currently enabled features require active supervision. The activation and use of these features are dependent on development and regulatory approval, which may take longer in some jurisdictions. If it's turned on where you live, it's counted. If you're in the US or Canada or Australia, they count the whole amount on new purchases. So if you buy a car today, it hits the bottom line, every last penny of it. And that's true of the subscription, and that's true of the purchase. Read it. It's right there. So let's talk about the other sneaky thing they're doing. You can transfer your FSD. It's been extended through the end of the year. Now, this language changed earlier this year, but if you do transfer, you're not transferring beta to beta. You're transferring beta to supervised. When you transfer, they count the whole amount. Whatever you paid before counts. It hits the bottom line. Why wouldn't it? You're agreeing to the new terms of service, as it were. So what does that mean? Well, it means that there's a whole bunch of money coming in, doesn't it? It means that they can count it all. But there's one more thing it means. It means you've been taken out of the class action pool. Whatever it was you paid for, you got. You agreed to it. It's yours now. You have it. It's done. So it doesn't matter. We don't need to wait for feature complete. The feature is complete. You got it. Now, it's possible that in a month or two, it will all be feature complete for everyone. It's also possible that it will take until the end of next year. Like Elon said at 10/10, he said, we believe that we can have it done sometime in 25, the end of 25. But he hastened to add, I've been known to be a little optimistic on my timelines. Yeah, that's true. Doing something impossible is difficult. And it's not impossible. It just hasn't been done yet. WhMos solution is not really FSD, is it? Not when you've got an army of actual teleoperators driving the machines for you. Well, they're not driving. They're just making decisions constantly everywhere you look. You see, Tesla can't do that. Tesla can't do that route. I made a whole video about it. I'll put the link in the description explaining why it doesn't work. It was a video with Herbert where I showed that teleoperation will not work. If you need to pay someone to constantly intervene on your car, the amount that you would have to pay them in salary is more than you paid for FSD. It could be that much per year. If you only paid $6,000, and some people did, it could easily cost $6,000 to teleoperate it per year, because the people who are going to be using it the most are the cabbies, the people sending it out as a robotaxi as intended. Now, there are still some regulatory hurdles to get past. Now, we may be able to have FSD for ourselves with someone in the car, but to get rid of the wheel, to let it drive away without you, there are still rules through NHTSA that have to be overcome. Currently, NHTSA only allows 2,500 cars in the entire country to be operated remotely, total, across all brands. Now, they do have a thing called AV Pact, I think. It is a framework that they've proposed, which they will pass as soon as it makes sense. Basically, it's a good deal. It says that every company may have as many cars as they want, but there's reporting requirements, there's safety requirements, all kinds of guidelines, and of course, those permits could be revoked. So that means that it would be better for everyone. Companies that operate unsafely would be subject to losing their license, losing their ability to operate a robotaxi network. But what it means is Tesla's got a do or die moment. If it comes next year, I think everyone will be happy. But if it takes another 2, 3, 4 years, there could be lawsuits, and everyone who transfers, who takes advantage of that free forward transfer, I am confident, would be effectively removed from the claimant pool. You would not be part of the class action lawsuit. You couldn't be. You got what you paid for, or what you agreed to pay for at least. So there's some interesting ideas there. We will wrap this up in a moment. We're not there yet, but I do want to say at this point, subscribe if you find this valuable. I am struggling. I really want to get to 100,000. Everything kind of switches on when you get to that point. The sponsorships arrive, the respect arrives, and I know you guys respect me, and I appreciate that. That's why you subscribe, so thank you for that. So what are we going to do with this information? Is it important? Does it matter? To me, it doesn't. I don't own FSD. I rent it, and I'm happy with that. It's a better deal for me because I don't think I will have my car for 80 months, the 80 months it would require to pay for the full self-driving. And I don't believe that when I sell it, it's necessarily going to be worth $8,000. Historically, it hasn't been. On trade-ins, you do not get the full amount. You get something more than the take rate. If the take rate is 10%, you get more than $800 for it. But we don't know what the take rate is. So are we going to see a surprise on earnings? We may. We may see a bunch of revenue that's been recognized. It might not be huge, but there's going to be a small chunk probably for recognizing new features that have rolled out that it hits against billions. It might be $100 million or $200 million in deferred revenue that shows up. All of the subscriptions hit. And of course, all of the transfers can clear as well. What I don't know is if a car is taken out of service, let's say you buy it, let's say you put full self-driving on it, let's say you total it a month later, do they count that? Can they? Do they know that that car is out of service? I don't think they do. I don't think there's a mechanism in place for them to see that and recognize the revenue. I don't even know how that would work legally. If you know, by all means, let me know in the comments below. Everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do, because you do it so well. And stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you. Clever robots. When you transfer your FSD, I don't know, man. I don't know.